And hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Nowhere Videos Meat and Potatoes, the program that shows you easy recipes for great food. My name is Todd Hilton, and in this edition I'll be sharing with you a recipe for a ham stromboli. And basically what that is, it's like a giant Hot Pocket. When you see this thing, you'll probably think the same thing, but I think it tastes a heck of a lot better than a Hot Pocket because you made it yourself. And this is a recipe that I found recently in one of my cooking magazines. I've kind of augmented it a little bit and added a little extra flavor to it, and I've made it one other time before and turned out great. It's a easy dish to make, and got my ingredients here next to me, and we're ready to go. So let's get it started. All right. Getting ready to start here. First thing you're going to need is a tube of pizza crust. Should be able to find this at any grocery store. When I got this just last night, there was only one kind, so it's kind of a no-brainer. You know, you got all these different types of cookie dough and stuff, but yet only one type of pizza crust. So that's what you need, the refrigerated pizza crust that explodes. Okay, now what I found out from the last experience making this dish is that the recipe actually calls for you to just take it, refrigerate it out of the tube, and make it into a like a square. Well, when I tried that, it didn't quite work that way. We had to wait until it actually got to room temperature and then take a rolling pin and roll it out, and that worked a lot better. So if you have experience working with that refrigerated pizza crust, by all means, go for it. With me, I've got it at room temperature, and I'm going to roll it with a rolling pin. We're going to put some flour out here on the counter here. Don't let your mom know that you do this. Okay, just enough here to keep it from sticking to the counter. Okay. This has been sitting out for a little while, hopefully long enough that it's going to be a little more pliable. And if memory serves me correctly, we took the dough, took our dough and made it into a ball. I'm rolling it in the flour as I go here. So yeah, I don't know exactly how you would take it right out of the tube being at a refrigerated temperature and then still be able to make it into a square. I tried and failed. I'm not proud of it, but I'm willing to admit it. So I'm doing it the easy way. Doing like Mark, taking the easy way out. But, well, our show is about easy recipes, and this one is easy. I was really surprised that it was as easy as it was. Okay. Now, hopefully I've got this kneaded up enough here to where I can start rolling it out. Being heckled by my cameraman here. That's to be expected. Okay. This, as I understand, is a kind of a family heirloom of Mark's here, using his mother's rolling pin. Put a little bit of flour on that, make sure that it doesn't stick to the dough. And I'm not really good at rolling stuff out, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier than trying to just make a square with your fingers. Okay, you're going to want to make this into, I'm trying to remember, it seems like it's almost like a, I don't know, maybe like a 12 by 12 square or something close, 10 by 10. And this actually makes the crust for your stromboli. Okay, there we're starting to get a little more flattened out there. Oop. Like we might need a little bit more flour in there. Start trying to stick on me here. Okay, when kneading something like this, be sure to kind of flip-flop it as you go. Don't roll it on the same direction, on the same side. Flip it like a 1/4 turn there, and roll it in the opposite direction. Basically, go against the grain of the previous roll, so that way you get your square shape, and you don't end up with just a long tube like the way it came out of the container there. Okay. Yeah, this is basically going to be your most difficult process right here, getting this into a square, which I've just about got it. Kind of roll it sideways there too. Alright, I'm going to call that good. That's about as close to a square as I'm going to get there. So, next up, you're going to take your mozzarella cheese, mozzarella, and we're going to get that shredded up, and that's going to be the next thing to go on. So, I'm going to get into the cupboard here, get our cheese grater. Okay, we got our mozzarella cheese. You're actually going to need 2 cups of this shredded. You can buy it pre-packaged. I already had this at home here, so I'm just going to use this up. And it's not that big a deal to go ahead and shred it with the cheese shredder. I believe this is what they make string cheese out of.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start getting this shredded. Yeah, mozzarella cheese is one of your kind of squeakier, rubbery cheeses as opposed to cheddar or American. So it can be tricky to work with sometimes. Yeah, it's going to look like we're making a pizza here, but we're really not, honestly. It is a ham stromboli. Again, I'm going to be adding a couple of extra ingredients that don't appear in the recipe, but that's all part of our fun. We like to personalize our recipes, kind of make them our own, and it's also fun to experiment with them. I mean, typically, if you have experience just cooking things at home, you know what goes together, and you experiment. Most of mine have been successful. I've had others that have been a total flop. But for the most part, I make guesses on what will go together when an ingredient doesn't appear in the recipe. And I think, well, I'll give that a try, see how it works in there, and you go from there. It either tastes great or it's like, it could have been better. We won't do that next time. So, again, this is probably the second most time-consuming part of this recipe here. Again, to save time, you can get pre-shredded mozzarella. It's a big dumb animal in you, folks. Okay, this is becoming a real mess here. But you know what? I love cheese, and I don't think you can ever have too much cheese. You can definitely not have enough, but I don't think you can have too much. We're going to move on to the next step, which is actually an ingredient that I'm adding to this recipe. We're going to throw in some nice, crunchy bacon. It's bacon! Okay. Had to get that out of the way there. I'm actually only going to use 8 slices of bacon. I found that out last time that seemed to be the appropriate number of slices. Going to be cooking that on the grill over here, and so you can save the rest of your bacon for breakfast tomorrow morning. You know, that doesn't have a thing on it, but that's okay. That's why we got a knife. Stab myself here, trying to open the bacon here.
Stab yourself, Nancy.
Sir? Okay. Peel this open here. And oh yeah. Now, that's an extremely long piece of bacon. I'm not used to that. Oh, the thing is about bacon, you know, you start cooking it and it ends up being about like, you know, it shrinks like 2/3 of its original length. But that's okay because we're not eating the bacon directly. It's going to be part of the Stromboli. Is actually going to be used as kind of a topping inside. Now, I like my bacon burnt to a crisp. Some people, like my wife, they like it almost raw. Like about now, it's done. Not me. Well, and then of course for this recipe, we want it crispy because we need to be able to crumble it up. So it is going to get pretty crispy by the time we're ready to pull it off the grill here. Okay, while our bacon's over there incinerating, we're going to put our next ingredient actually into our dough. I'm going to take our mozzarella cheese here. Make a huge mess as I take this off. Okay, as I said before, I love cheese, so you can't have too much. We're going to sprinkle this on here. You'd swear I was making a pizza, but I'm really not. Even though it has several ingredients that are the same as in pizza, mozzarella being one of them. Of course, bread crust, or the pizza crust there. And you're going to want to leave an outer edge, say about an inch or so, around the very edge of the dough, because you're going to need to seal this up here. All right, next thing you want to put on is your smoked ham, and this is the good stuff here. This isn't the cheap, 79-cent package of lunch meat. This is deli grade smoked ham, and you're going to use 4 slices of this and put it on the Stromboli. Got our cheese down there. This is a very thin slice there, so it tends to want to come apart on you there. Again, make sure you keep that outer edge open so you can seal it up. And I'm going to have to overlap just a hair there. You probably could put 5 on there if you wanted to put an extra slice in the middle. Keep in mind, though, you got to be able to seal it up, so there's only there's a limit to how much you can stuff into this thing and still be able to get it sealed. So I'm just going to use the 4 there, and that's going to do it for that. So now we got our ham and cheese on there. We're going to throw some more cheese on there. That's where your excess comes in. I suppose a variation on this, you could actually layer it with 2 different kinds of cheese. In a lot of our dishes that we've made on the show here, we've used the Mexican blend 4 cheese variation. I'm sure you could put that on there too. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to call that good there. Put the rest of our cheese aside. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, in preparation to take the bacon off the grill there, I'm going to take a plate here. I'm going to line it with some paper towels. That way you soak up the excess grease. And that That's less grease that's going in your stomach and clogging up your arteries. So it's always a good idea there. And you know what? I think that's going to do right there. I think we're ready to take that off right now. Got our weenie grabbers here. And take these off. Got several sticking together, but that's okay. Not surprising, though, considering how long these things were. I couldn't believe it. I don't think I've ever seen bacon that long before. Alright, our bacon is cooled down enough we can crumble it up. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and preheat our oven. Going to want to bake at 375. Yes. Mark's kind enough to clean our grill there. He's a lot more experienced than I am with that. And you actually, while the grill's still hot, take a cup of water, slowly pour it on there, and the steam basically helps you clean. You're basically steam cleaning it. Take paper towels or whatever you got, wipe it down. Works great. So while that's heating up there, we're going to take our bacon and we're going to just crumble it up. And sprinkle that right on top there. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is going to be good. Yeah, I think the crispy bacon was definitely a good addition to this dish. It just seemed to be missing something when I read the recipe. I was like, you know what? I think bacon would go good with that. So, yeah, tried it. Only made it one other time, but well, I tell you what. Like I said earlier, it did not last long. We had that scarf down in probably a half hour, you know, between me and my family and Mark there. So okay, that's good to go there. Another thing that I'm gonna do to this, it's actually not in the recipe. I'm gonna take some garlic powder, and before I seal that up, I'm not gonna use a whole lot. Maybe, I don't know, you'd call it maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon or something. And just kind of sprinkle some of that on there. Okay. And I may put some more on the top as soon as we get this rolled up here. Okay. Now the tricky part. Okay, now surgery is complete, and we're going to seal them up. Now again, you're going to want to take this... you know, again, you're going to be treating this like it's a giant hot pocket. So it's going to get rolled up here, and actually, you're taking the entire thing, and okay, now it looks like a taco, but that's okay. Okay, you're going to take your ends and just kind of, with your fingers, just kind of pinch the end together. I'm just going to go around the edge there. Of course, the only thing is, with some of the flour on there, it may not want to seal completely, but that's okay as long as it stays together, which it should. I mean, there's enough weight inside this thing that it should stay together. Okay, yeah, this is the hard part. Trying to get this thing on the cookie sheet without it just completely falling apart. If you have a better idea, by all means, do it. Okay. So now we've got it on our cookie sheet. This is an ungreased cookie sheet. You actually won't have any problem getting this off, believe it or not. So we got that on there. Next, we're going to take 1 tablespoon of butter or margarine, and we're going to melt that in the microwave. Okay. Got it in our measuring cup there, and I usually like to place a little piece of paper towel over the top of it there. All right. Got our butter in the microwavable container there. That goes in, and gonna microwave that for 23 seconds. This is a little trick I found. The thing is, though, this probably only works on my microwave. We've got one that was, you know, built when I was a kid, for crying out loud. You know, they're like indestructible. But I know this thing pretty well. In the past, I've experimented with melting butter, and I found out if I set it for a certain amount of time, such as 23 seconds, it'll be fine, because about 2 seconds more, boom. And you'll have a big mess all over your microwave. So, we melt it for 23 seconds. And what do you know? Voila. Got our melted butter here. Actually, it's margarine, butter, whatever. So, okay. Actually, what we're going to do, and I thought of something similar with the garlic powder. I was going to just sprinkle it on there, and Mark gave me a great idea. I'm just going to add some right to the melted butter there, and voila, you'll have a kind of a garlic butter. Again, that's probably, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's not very much. Not going to want to use a whole lot. I love garlic, but not to the extent where you're walking around with garlic breath. Then that's a little too much. So, I'm going to mix that up here. I've got a pastry brush here, and got that mixed up. And what I'm going to do is just brush it on top of the Stromboli. What this is going to do is not only give it a nice golden brown color when you bake it, but a little bit of buttery flavor, and of course you're going to have that garlic in there too. So you're going to get almost like a garlic bread type of taste to it, but not an overload of it. Just enough of a hint to where you can taste it. So that brushes on there. And then, after this, we got one last ingredient that'll go on here. Alright, I'm going to call that good. And last but not least, our final ingredient, grated Parmesan cheese. We're going to take some of that, and we are going to sprinkle that over the top of the Stromboli. That's another reason for the butter being there, is to help it stick. Okay, I'm going to call that good. The measurement on that is, I believe it's like half a tablespoon, right around in there. But again, stuff like that, that gives you an opportunity to experiment for yourself. Use however much you like, and it's all part of the fun. So now that is totally ready. We're going to be able to put that in the oven, and very soon we're going to have a delicious dish. All right. Okay, so open that up again. This is preheated to 375 degrees. This is going to go in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. So that goes in, and all right, that's in. And 20 to 25 minutes from now, we'll be ready to take that out and give it a try. So come on back. All right, and once again, through the magic of television, our ham Stromboli is ready to come out of the oven. Going to take our hot pads here, because this is a hot dish. All right. Beautiful. Well, it had a minor explosion in the back, but that's okay. Didn't lose a whole lot there. Kind of looks like a loaf of bread. But there we are there. Yeah, I knew I didn't get that back end sealed up that well, but again, you know, that's part of where your flour comes in. If you use a little too much on the edges there, it doesn't get sealed. But that's okay. Again, it didn't lose that much, and the rest of it is still inside, ready to be devoured. So there you go, folks. Ham Stromboli. All right, folks, that was ham stromboli, actually my variation of it. And again, easy to make. There's only a handful of ingredients. And probably the one thing that you wouldn't have in your house necessarily would be the pizza dough. You know, you probably have to go out and buy that, but mozzarella cheese, or you could probably use another kind of cheese if you had it available. Sliced ham. You could use leftovers if you've got them from other dinners that you've cooked with ham. You could probably make variations on the type of meat you use. A lot of different things you can do. Use your own imagination, and it's all good. Like I said, I've made this once before, and I actually changed one thing about adding the garlic powder to it, to both the top and the inside of the dish. See how that turns out, and I think that's going to do it. So, for Mark Johnson behind the camera, I'm Todd Hilton. Good taters, good meat, good grief, let's eat. We'll see you next time.